Hello, everyone, and welcome back to Only One Hotspur podcast. Obviously, me and Wes are both really happy from the game yesterday. We have been joined by an Arsenal fan as well, obviously Nelson, who was in the preview. And we are going to be reviewing the game. Obviously, there's going to be two people in this review. We're going to be absolutely buzzing, and because they support the team who runs North London, while the other one is probably not as happy. But yeah, I'll come straight to you, Nelson. Get the rubbish bit out of the way. Getting the Arsenal side's view. What did you think of the game? What did you think of it? Lost for words.
Joe. Where's? I don't know where to start. First of all, congratulations for the Derby win. 3 points is 3 points. I can't really, there's not really much to say. I can't really talk about the fact that maybe we had more possession. We may, the stats can say something, but at the end of the day, we lost the game, and I think just looking forward to the next, not looking forward, but we just have to focus on the next 3 games, I think, from an Arsenal perspective. In terms of the game, I believe that it was going to be the draw. I think we all predicted a draw on Friday. And when Alderweireld scored that goal to make it 2-1, I thought, okay, my prediction is, I think me and Wes both predicted 2-2. So I had a feeling that our prediction would obviously come true, but unfortunately it didn't. I think both sides defensive. I think you were better defensively in terms of the fact that you cleared your lines, you had more of communication at the back, but ours, I think both teams need to I think this is some of the worst sides in terms of London derby, because I don't think we've had some great North London derby fixtures, and this one was one not to remember. I think it wasn't the entertaining kind of fun back and forth game that neutrals would love and would associate with the North London derby. But I think defence-wise, from an Arsenal perspective, absolute shambles. For us to concede 3 minutes after scoring a wonderful goal, by the way, from Lacazette, who I knew would turn up for the derby, but our defenders clearly didn't. I think it's just that I think in possession, there's no real impetus to move the ball forward. There's just a sideways kind of motion that was constant throughout the game. I'm disappointed. Obviously, that puts you guys above us by 2 points on 52. But I think right now, as an Arsenal fan, I think it's just to look forward to the next. Just focus on the next game. We can't dwell too much on it. At the end of the day, like I said, congratulations to you. So my thoughts on that. Those are my thoughts on the game.
Yeah. Obviously, thanks for your congratulations. We will take that. Wes, I'll come straight over to you. And this one might be a bit more chirpy, I think.
I genuinely think I watched a completely different game to a lot of people yesterday. Because Arsenal, for me, dominated the ball. All right, they probably didn't do a lot with it, but it's like the level of sort of respect that we gave them. This is a North London derby. Like, why are Arsenal coming to our patch and thinking that they can stamp their authority on the game, which was something that I struggle to understand a little bit, fail to sort of understand a little bit. This is our patch, this is our turf. Go and get after them. We know Arsenal's back line is horrific. When Nelson was reading out his predicted lineup on the preview, I was literally there going, oh my days, like that back 3 is horrific. But I think we had a real opportunity to properly go at Arsenal and really go after them, really get in their faces, properly, like put them under pressure in all areas of the pitch. That high intensity sort of pressing game that we had. I don't think we've had it for a while, but I think there was an opportunity to perhaps try and get elements of that back yesterday. because okay, we won the game, but everybody's happy with that. But I do think that I just expected to see a little bit more. I do agree with Nelson. It's not going to be one that's going to be one for the archives. And I think the fact that fans weren't in the ground definitely aided Mourinho in his game plan, which a lot of people will go, I don't really care how we played, it was just about the points, everything like that, in a derby game. And I do understand that to a certain degree, but I guess I'm trying to think of the bigger picture with us, and actually there's still some, everybody knows there's areas that need addressing and things like that, but I just, don't get me wrong, I'm absolutely buzzing the fact that we beat them lot, right? Because this is probably the worst state that we've been in as a team and as a club for the last decade. Yeah, and them lot still couldn't beat us this season. So we've gone unbeaten against them lot this season. So that either shows how we can still have a bit of grit when we need it, or it just shows how bad Arsenal are. I think it's probably the latter, to be fair. But yeah, it was a bit of a strange one. I think Jacques has probably not had as much time on a football pitch in his life, despite the fact that he isn't that great as a midfield player. Danny Ceballos, the lad on work experience who's trained to be a hairdresser, he's probably had the easiest day of his life on work experience. He's probably open for more days like that. I think there was one point he was eyeing up one of our players, and I think I turned to my dad and said he's probably eyeing up how much he can charge for his hair, and stuff like that. But yeah, it was a bit of a strange one. I actually think in the way that we set up, it was very much like an Atletico Madrid style setup from us in the 4-4-2, very rigid, very like two banks of four, and then with Sonny and Kane up top. But I think it was a very Atletico Madrid disciplined kind of performance, which is a good thing. But it's almost like we were trying to play away, like I say, like Atletico Madrid, but we haven't got the level of player to sort of do it, which I think only time will tell if we get there. But yeah, it was a bit of a strange one. Didn't have that little bit of usually in a North London derby it kicks off somewhere along the line. You get a mass brawl somewhere. We didn't really see any of that. But then I think the two players that would have probably instigated that for us, from our perspective, were missing in Dyer and Dele. Because I know if those two were playing, Dyer's smashing someone up in the air, and Dele's going to do something. It's a big game. Dele usually does something in a big game. Whether it is the 2-0, like in the cup game, or the cupping of the ears to the Chelsea fans at the bridge, little things like that. So those two missing were, and I think you could almost sense that we missed them yesterday. Like usually when certain players are out, you can sort of brush over it and just sort of go, right, well, we have, but I think, we have replacements. But I think those two missing yesterday definitely had an effect on the game from a Tottenham perspective. But, as I said, I'm buzzing because we've been awful. This is the worst state that we've been in a decade. I think we're even in a slightly better position, if not similar, under AVB and then the Sherwood time. And they still couldn't beat us, which just going to put that in the things you love to see category for now. But yeah, like I say, it's a strange one because for me, Arsenal, I know stats probably don't suggest it, but Arsenal for me had more of the game than what we did, and I was really surprised to see the stats coming up after the game, in the sense that we had all these opportunities, and I'm trying to remember all these opportunities, and I'm thinking I must have clearly watched a different game to what the majority of people did. But listen, we've got the 3 points. It's put us back above them lot. we're in and around again the shake-up for European football again. And, you know, we just have to... I'm hoping now that this can be a catalyst for not only the club, but for the team and the manager, and connecting all of those dots together as well. So I hope it's a catalyst for the club in the sense that, you know, we can beat these big, you know, rival teams and stuff. I hope it's a catalyst for the players because they can sense that we can beat these teams as well and have belief in what we're doing. I hope it's a catalyst for the manager, and actually hope that the players and the manager now, we have this sort of like baseline now where we go, right, here's what we can do. Let's try and build on it now. I think that's the key. Trying to build on yesterday's performance. I say performance, but then I said that the performance wasn't exactly the greatest. But the result, just trying to build on it and trying to gain some form of momentum. I know we've got 3 games left, but hopefully we can take it into next season.
Yeah. Well, I'm going to be a bit more positive. And I think one thing, what I'll say on your thing, and I said this last night, it's not about Arsenal played on Tuesday last week, and we played on Thursday. So they had 48 hours more to recover. Obviously, since the restart, our team hasn't really changed too much. Obviously, there's been the odd changes where, you know, you've had Lucas for Bergwijn, or obviously Gio didn't start one game. You know, Harry Winks, you know, them. But the majority of the team has been the same. And I think that's the team what Jose trusts at the minute. I don't understand why he trusts them on some of the performances what we have had. But obviously that team's gone out there and got the win, so fair play. So I just think, obviously, you know, they do prepare the way we're going to play before, you know, probably before the Bournemouth game. We probably knew how he was going to play before we played Bournemouth. And that could have maybe been why we didn't actually have the best game against Bournemouth. They might have been trying to actually reserve some energy for the Arsenal game. You never know, but the Bournemouth game was shocking anyway. But moving on. I just think we've got to think about the fitness aspects of it as well. Like, that's probably why we didn't go at them as much as we, you know, as some people might have liked. But you can't fault the tactics what have gone on, because we've gone on and won the game. We created a lot of chances as well. Like, Kane should have probably had 2 goals at least. Son could have had another. Sissoko should have scored, but we'll move on from that one quickly. Obviously, Martinez pulled off a wonder save for Davis' strike. So we've created a lot of opportunities. Obviously, Davis' one was just a half chance. Well, not even a half chance. He just had a absolute hit, and it's saved. But I didn't mind that as much, because I think we conserved our energy till we could hit them. And, like, it's quite obvious that Arsenal's defence struggled with that as well. Like, when Kane went running through on one of the times, Mustafi was sliding like he was ice skating. You know, you had, you know what I mean? Like, I think we did try and hit them at their weak points quick. You know, we played, when we got it, we sort of like tried to hit the channels and aiming for Mustafi or Kolasinac, or however you say his bloody name. You know, he's not really worth saying, is it, after his mistake yesterday? But I think as a team yesterday, we did look good. Obviously, Arsenal did have a couple of chances. I remember Hugo Lloris making one good save where it's down to his left, and Aubameyang missing that golden chance where he's probably trying to do crossbar challenge or something. But apart from that, I think, you know, we limited that Arsenal to not too many chances as such. I think, yeah, I think the tactics worked. Obviously, if we are playing that football next season, then, you know, where we're sitting back that bit more, then that's a bit more worrying. But I think we do have to bear in mind how many games we're playing, and we are not changing our team that much. obviously, yeah, we've got 5 subs, but I think, as I said, it's the players who Jose Mourinho trusts at the minute. And and in a game like that, I think, as I've said before, with these 5 sub rule, that really can just change the way the game plays, because it takes time for the player to come into the game, get a feel for it. And say if you make them changes, then you could have lost your momentum in the game. You could have lost that edge, if that makes sense. So I personally think he got it right yesterday. I think it was a lot more promising than a lot of other games we've had. It's probably the most promising game we have had since the restart, because we created chances. We won in the first place as well. But it was more entertaining to watch than the Everton game, what we won, because we was still creating the chances. Obviously, it wasn't as entertaining as we would like. Don't get me wrong. But we were starting to see it that bit more, I think. And I think we do just have to be a bit patient with it and then see how we are next season. That's my argument with that. But I am absolutely buzzing with the win. It should be interesting now to see if we push on with these next 3 games. Obviously, we've got Newcastle, Leicester and Palace. They're not easy games. Obviously, Newcastle are quite solid, and they've got a few players who seem to be on really good form at the minute. Leicester, they got smashed by Bournemouth, which I can't believe. So they are not going to, and they're pushing for that Champions League spot, and they're under pressure now because they know 5th isn't going to get Champions League now, so they really need to get that top 4. Because obviously United are breathing right down their necks, so obviously they're going to be right up for it. And Palace, Palace are a very hard team to beat. Solid. So these next 3 games aren't going to be easy. So it should be interesting to see what we get in these 3 games. But yeah, I'm absolutely buzzing with the win. North London's white. End of discussion. Sorted. But obviously, moving on to key players and who we thought stood out yesterday. I'll come to you first again, Nelson, on this one. So yeah, who do you think really stood out in the game yesterday for either side?
Well, obviously, I've got to give it to your centre-back pairings. I think they were great in terms of keeping strikers at bay. I think if you think about the chances that Arsenal had, I think the 2 clear-cut I missed some of the first half, so I'm not sure whether Aubameyang had one in the first half, but I know the 2 that he had in the second half were probably 2 clear-cut chances that he had. And the fact that Lacazette, even though it was a great goal, which required great technique and ability to score from that distance, the fact that he was required to score from that distance meant that we really didn't get in behind you guys. So that's why I give kind of fair play to your centre-back pairings from your side. I think, I don't know, Son runs everywhere. I don't get it. Like, he just runs. I don't know what he's on, but he's on everywhere. I know you guys have obviously been complaining about the way that Mourinho style plays, which is true. When you guys were on the ball, I really wasn't for the first time in a long time in terms of North London derbies. I wasn't afraid when you guys were on the ball, but I knew off the ball there could be a bit of danger that you guys could cause. And obviously, for Son had to be alert in order to get that ball. That mistake from Kolasinac, so fair play. I think Son also played well. In terms of Arsenal, obviously there's not much to pick from, but I have to go for Martinez. I think, like Joe, you said earlier before we started this, that he's actually impressed many people, and you could argue that he's even better than Bernd Leno. I think he's that save from Davies, because when I saw that chance, I was like, that's a great strike from Davies. It was just a bit unlucky. Then I saw the replay, I was like, wow, Martinez, you are a hero to pull off that save and to tip it onto the bar. So Martinez was very impressive. I think he was obviously let down by his back line. Another person that I think was great was actually Danny Ceballos. I think Danny Ceballos actually was the only one looking to, especially in the second half, he was the only one looking to create something. And I think he really wanted to show the fans how much he understood what the derby meant to us. I think there was a picture of him like in the final seconds of the game. I think you guys could have broke. I think it was either Sissoko on the right-hand side. Somebody tried to go past him in the late stages of the game, and Ceballos was able to kind of intercept and stop them from going through. Went out of play for throwing, and he's just on his knees and he's just like screaming, and like I think that's going to be a meme for for days to come. But I think he put in a lot of effort. I think those are the two that I pick from the Arsenal side. Like you could mention Lacazette in there, but like I mentioned, the fact that he had to score from distance meant that he didn't do much to get in behind or trouble the Tottenham defence. That's how I look at it. But those are the kind of players that stood out for me from yesterday's game. Yeah.
Yeah, it's interesting to be fair. I think, yeah, I'll come straight over to you, Wes. And who do you think stood out for either side?
From Tottenham perspective, I think centre halves did well in terms of marshalling Arsenal's front line. I always anticipated that Sanchez would play because he is quick, and that Arsenal front line does have some pace about it. Excuse me, and I thought he did very, very well in handling, going out into those wider areas as well. When we got caught out of balance, so I think Sanchez done really, really well. Alderweireld was pretty solid. Hooked it and cleared it when he needed to, but then also tried to play when the opportunity was there. Lucas Moura put in an unbelievable shift defensively, and I think he's been praised by a lot of fans over, since the game. And I think that's something that we have wanted to see. Although, granted, there was times where, there's people running off the back of him and things like that, and he's sort of a bit static, but I think by and large he had a decent performance. I actually thought his cuteness of pass was exceptional in the first half. The through pass for Harry Kane, for Kane's chance when he's tried to lob it over Martinez was like ridiculous. If that's Christian Eriksen, everybody's going mental. If it's De Bruyne, Silva, Bruno, everybody that's getting put on loop for about 5 years. God help us if it was Ozil, Jesus. You know what I mean? It was like, I've not seen that from Lucas Moura. I think Son's always a threat without actually doing a lot in games sometimes. I think Sonny sort of flitted in and out for me. Great anticipation for his goal. But then also I did think there could have been a time where he maybe couldn't have got, or he might have just backed off a little bit and Luiz might have just slid him and tried to take it. But no, I thought Sonny was actually all right. Sissoko had a bit of a disciplined game, credit where credit's due on that one. Big up Harry Winks and Gio in the midfield as well. I thought those two worked extremely well together. Although I would like to see a little bit more from them in terms of combining with each other in the midfield. Because I don't think there was too much of that yesterday. I thought Kane was okay. I think he had a bit of a different game to what he's used to. Some fairly good hold-up play and stuff like that. Probably could have had a goal or two as well. So it's a bit disappointing when Harry Kane doesn't score in a North London derby, because even he loves it as much as all of us. From an Arsenal perspective, again, I think Martinez in goal. Some really, really good saves. And I think there was one chance as well in the second half, I believe. Kane's been put through and he's hit it with his left and it's gone straight at Martinez. He's kept himself really, really big for as long as possible. And I even said to my dad, I think if Kane tries to dink it with his right foot, so almost come round the ball and dink it with his right foot, I think Harry Kane scores. I'm sure it was Kane. And stuff. If anybody wants to tell me any different, then feel free to do so. But yeah, I just think that Kane did okay. I think he's still lacking a little bit of service from the full, like also, who we've loved since he's cemented himself in the team, for his work rate and things like that. I just think for him to go to that next step for us, he has to find that cuteness of pass, which I don't think he's got yet. And I emphasize the word yet because I think he can do it. It's almost like if Lo Celso had Ndombele's vision, he would be like a bit more similar to Eriksen. And obviously Lo Celso was sort of brought in to replace Eriksen. But yeah, anyway, from an Arsenal perspective, like I say, Martinez was fantastic in goal. Ceballos looked good, tried to knit things together. I have to sort of mention Granit Xhaka because he didn't try and kill anyone, which is always a bonus, I think, for when he plays. Lacazette, great goal. But then other than that, did I really see him do a lot? Not really. Aubameyang is Aubameyang. Put his mask on and went missing. He put ghost mode on. Yet again, all I'm saying is if Harry Kane's missing those chances, the disrespect that Harry Kane would get would have been remarkable, would have been ridiculous. We'd still be talking about it now because it would be all over social media. Pepe had flashes, but for me, Pepe at this moment in time flatters to deceive for me. He's got the ability but doesn't produce enough. Like I say, he's got it there, and I think we've seen it in flashes in other games, like with his goal against Brighton, for example. But I think there was a couple of times yesterday where he might have just turned Ben Davies a little bit easy, but then Ben Davies just hooked him down any which way possible, which was quite nice to sort of see that somebody wasn't having somebody try and take the mick out of them, because Spurs have been labelled as a soft touch, and soft underbelly. You can bully Tottenham, whereas I think Lo Celso cleaning out Ceballos with his arm. I'm surprised Lo Celso didn't get sent off for that actually, because I think that could have been one. You raise your arm in a game, chances are you're going to get sent off. That's the way I'm.
Well, yeah, on that part, he's literally just put his hand there though. And like,
but do you know what I mean? But Joe, do you know what I mean? You raise your hands in a game, chances are.
But it's just like he's holding him off, sort of thing. I think that if that had been sent off, I think I would have lost my temper. I think Ceballos should have been booked as well, though, in that one. Like Ceballos has gone down holding his face. He hasn't gone, and he hasn't touched it. He's touched him there. So Ceballos has tried to cheat. So Ceballos should be booked. But that's my opinion. Sorry, I just thought I'd say that while it's on
obviously, from a Spurs perspective, big up Arsenal's back three because, without those guys, we haven't got anything to laugh about. Or
we wouldn't be here today.
Or just give us, a bit of hope in life. You see those three, and then you kind of think, I might actually start getting my boots back out and having a game, because if those three can make up a back line, I think anyone's got half a chance. But yeah, those were sort of the key players that I thought from the game. I don't know about you, Joe.
Yeah. I'll start off with Arsenal. Martinez, since he's come in for Leno, he's really impressed me. I have to give credit where it's due. Not just in the game, yesterday. Like, I think Martinez's handling is actually spot on as well. By the way, most of the time he keeps hold of the ball. So like with that Lucas Moura shot within like 10 seconds where we actually had a shot on target, within 10 seconds where we didn't have one in 90 minutes before, I was quite impressed how he just held on to it. And I've seen a few like that with him. I think he's impressed me like that. He makes big saves. He seems to be quite big, commanding. And if I was him and Leno's comes back fit and then he gets dropped straight away, I'd be like, hold up a minute, mate. I feel like I've actually done quite well, and I think then Martinez would leave because I think he's proven that he could actually be, quite a tidy keeper for someone. Even in the Premier League, like we see in the Premier League, there's some teams what need a goalkeeper, and I think he could go and be a number one elsewhere if he's not going to be number one at Arsenal. Like, just for a quick example, Southampton, they probably need a goalkeeper. Teams like that. Obviously Bournemouth, if they stay up, probably not. But there's teams who could do with a goalkeeper like that as their number one. And I have to give credit where it's due. He was really good. Apart from that, for Arsenal, I think, Danny Ceballos didn't do too bad. You could see he was working hard and trying to create stuff, but I think, it wasn't helped by maybe the movement of the ball, or, it just didn't quite click. I think that's fair to say. You could see that he was working hard, and I think you could tell that he tried to bring that bit of heat and, that work ethic, what you want to see in a North London derby. I personally love Mustafi's performance. Obviously, I'm sure Arsenal fans would disagree with me on that. Aubameyang, I was criticising him all game, not necessarily for his performance, but he's 30-odd years old and he's got a star in his hair, for crying out loud. Could you imagine?
My striker would never. My striker would never.
And literally, my granddad even watched the game. And I was literally going on it about it. Every time he came up on the TV, I was like, could you imagine going into the barbers at over 30 years old and asking for a star in your hair? You must be compensating for something. I'm not being funny. Like, how embarrassing is that? Anyway, he missed some big chances. And I think that is something what does my head in with Arsenal fans. Or Aubameyang, best striker in the league. Ball off, mate. Like, when it comes to a big game, he does nothing. Like, it's best to, he's at the bar when he should be scoring now. I don't know why he's tried to do it there. He should be going across the goal, probably.
Yeah.
And then the other one, he hasn't put anywhere near enough power on it. And I think that is the difference between him being one of the, being the probably top 3 strikers in the league to where he is. And I know I'm going to probably get crucified by that, by Arsenal fans for saying that. But, and I know Harry Kane missed a few chances yesterday. Like, I'm not saying that. But Aubameyang just gets so much credit. But he can score against a penalty against Norwich or something and do a backflip and gets praised like mad. But when it comes to playing up against one of the big teams, where is he? Like, you only notice him because of the star in his hair. Like, that's it. Like, pathetic. Anyway, the Tottenham, I'm going to go straight to the centre-back pair. I think absolutely solid. Didn't really let Arsenal get in behind. I think, as you said, Nelson, I think Sanchez did actually have a good game. Obviously, I have been a bit critical of him in the past, I think, at times. But as I've said, he can have a really good game, and he can maybe come in and have a really poor one. But yesterday, he did do well. And I think, as you said, Wes, as well, I think he covered out wide quite well, because obviously Serge Aurier was being Serge Aurier and being useless as ever. By the way, while I'm on that, like, he's lucky that we won that game, or else this would be where I had the Serge Aurier run, because he was at fault for the goal, and then I don't know what he was doing when he got booked. Even my granddad took the mick out of him, because the ball's literally come to him, and he's like, "Oh, the ball!" and it's gone through his legs, and then whoever it was, I think it's Lacazette maybe, who's come and nicked the ball from him. He's like, "Oh wait, now he's got the ball." And he's absolutely like torn the guy down. Like, absolute shocking. Like, how's he? But anyway, I don't want to be too negative because we won the game. But if that had happened and we lost, Serge Aurier, I would be coming for you. But yeah, Davinson Sanchez done well. Toby, fantastic, and obviously lovely header. And we had, I think, Lucas done well. He put in a really good shift, fantastic passing, especially that one to Kane, beauty. But I think you can't look past Son either. I think, he wasn't in the game the whole time, I think it's fair to say. He should have scored another one, but he got a golden assist. And he's actually beat the first man from a corner as well, something what we don't often see at Tottenham. So, and that always puts a smile on your face. So yeah, I think you can't look past Son either. I think if you get a goal and an assist in a 2-1 win, you have to say the guy's done well. He's come up when it's important in the game, and for him to be alert to that mistake, obviously probably knew a mistake was going to happen. He's probably looking at them, laughing at them, going, "How are you guys professional defenders in the Premier League here?" But he's taken advantage of that really well, and it's a lovely finish as well, by the way. That composure, Martinez side, little dink, bit of salt with that. You want a bit of salt with that, Chip? Fantastic.
It's on his weaker side as well.
You can tell, exactly. I think, as you can tell, I am quite happy.
Quick question.
Oh, here we go. Yeah.
No, because Wes, you just said that it was his weaker side, but does Son actually have a weak side? Just quick question. No, he's good with both. He's just good with both feet. You don't know where he's going, so I just wanted to put that out there. Go on, I think you finished, Joe.
Yeah, he is a sharp shooter, as he's shown in the military. So I think he's quite versatile with whatever weapon he's using. It sounds like. So does that answer your question there, Nelson?
Yeah.
Yeah, I think we'll move on to who we think got man of the match. Wes, I'll come to you first on this one. Who is your man of the match?
It's another strange one, because I don't think there was one player that was outstanding in the game. I don't think sort of anybody had. I don't think anybody was below par, but then I don't think anybody was above par either. So I'm gonna
just on that one. Sergio Aurier is below par, but carry on.
Yeah, all right. No, but from Serge standards, it's par. Yeah, if I'm gonna go with anybody, I'm probably gonna have to say Martinez, because I think without him making those crucial saves at crucial times in the game, we're speaking about not a 2-1 win. We're speaking about a 3-4-5-1 win. So yeah, for me, Martinez is my man of the match. Like I said, I don't think anybody really for me stood out. As we mentioned before, it wasn't particularly a game for the archives. So yeah, but I think without Martinez, I think it could have been a lot worse for Arsenal, and obviously a lot better for us. So I think, I think overall I'll probably go with Emi Martinez as my man of the match. I thought he was excellent, to be fair.
Yes. So Nelson, who is your man of the match?
I'm going to have to agree with Wes here, Joe. I think Emi Martinez was great in terms of the fact that he kept us in the game, and I think without his saves, you're looking at a larger scoreline, which doesn't really reflect the game, but I think, it would have been a really huge scoreline for Tottenham. In terms of who was great for Tottenham, like you said, there wasn't anybody that really stood out, but I think in those big games, you obviously need quality to get you the victory, and I'm going to give it to Son. I read that yesterday that he was the first person in the North London derby to get a goal and an assist since Emmanuel Adebayor, 2012, 2013.
Ooh.
So that when I saw that stat, I was like, that's the quality that you guys needed in order, like that delivery, like you said, to beat any professional needs to beat the first man on the corner. But it was a great delivery for Toby to head in. So
Nelson, you haven't seen the pain of us watching Christian Eriksen from a corner for the last however many years.
And then, by the way, when he goes to Inter Milan, he scores directly from a corner. By the way,
yeah,
absolute joke.
Yeah.
Really?
Yeah.
I did cry that night.
Nels, just to pick up on your point there of that last player to do it, I actually thought of Aaron Lennon I didn't realise it was Adebayor. I thought it was Aaron Lennon.
Yeah.
And the game.
Oh yeah, when Bale scored that game as well.
The 2-1 at White Hart Lane. Because he put the ball through for Bale and then Parker played him in. So I was actually that's why I was shocked as anything to learn it was Adebayor and not my man Azar.
Yeah, Adebayor. Yeah. So I'll give it to Son. I'll give it to Son as well from a Tottenham perspective. I've got two from each kind of side, so I'll give it back to you, Joe.
Yeah, I think if it was a 1-1 draw, I'd have given it to Martinez hands down because his performance was fantastic. But I'm a bit old school and I always have to give it to the team who wins. And I'm going to say someone a bit different, I think. As I do agree, there wasn't anyone who stood out necessarily individually for like a world-class performance, if that makes sense. But I think I am going to give it to Toby because I just think he done his job really, really well.
Waiting for
he was solid. Yeah. It was absolutely solid, and he scored the winner. It was a very good header as well. And for him to keep his hair the way it was when he headed it, I want to know what product he uses in his hair, by the way. But I think that's who I am going to go and give my man of the match to. But just on a quick note as well, I do give Sergio Aurier a bit of criticism. I think it's fair to say, but it has now been confirmed that his brother was killed this morning in an attack. So I would just like to obviously, condolences, for that. It's absolutely shocking and really sad to hear stuff like that. Stuff like that is still happening. So yeah, obviously, hope, wish everyone the best, but really sad news coming out. But yeah, that is the end of our review for the North London derby. Fantastic win for the Tottenham. Hopefully push on and get that European football for next season. And hopefully we'll see Arsenal drop into the bottom half of the table. Obviously, we'll soon see. But anyway, make sure you like, you comment your thoughts on the game on YouTube. Make sure you subscribe to the channel. We are pushing for 100 subscribers, so it's greatly appreciated. We're also on Spotify, so make sure you follow us on that, and follow us on all social media at Only One Hotspur. And until next time, up the Spurs.
Up the Spurs, you know.